Welcome to the Nikki and Ryan experiment. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Ryan.
Hey guys.
Hey.
What's up? Tonight we have Shea Depmore. Shea, thank you so much for being on.
Yes.
So Shea, tell us a little bit about yourself, your platform, and what people can expect from your content.
Oh my gosh. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited. I am an actor and I do political comedy. I started doing political comedy on Facebook of all places, which is mostly as a way. I was making a lot of my own content as an actor, and I am not much of a writer, but I was obviously very frustrated, as I'm sure I know both of you were frustrated with the last administration. So it was the clearest outlet that I had to deal with that frustration. And as a writer, that's not my strongest suit, or wouldn't be what I had considered my strongest suit, but it was the easiest way for me to start writing my own work was through politics, because it was just what I cared about naturally. So that's how all of that started. And now I do primarily political comedy. I do some other just straight comedy as well, but the majority of what I do is politics. So
it sounds like you got some newfound confidence in your own writing abilities from all this then.
Absolutely. The end of this administration was very weird because I very much was so grateful for the nightmare to be over.
Oh, yeah.
But it felt very weird to also at the same time know that I had parts of myself that probably wouldn't have existed without those past 4 years. It was very weird. Yeah, very odd.
We totally feel you on that for sure. Yeah,
right.
That's pretty much what I was going to say. We actually talk about it quite often on here. How I mention a lot how I've evolved as a person, through the last 4 years, because it's made me pick a side when before I didn't always feel the necessity to pick a side. And that goes to the white privilege, honestly, in my book. But sitting back and having to pick a side and having to pick right from wrong, and then putting us in that position of having to do it, that for me is what really evolved my views as a person. Like, they were always there, but it made me be public about it, and say something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've always picked a side. Hey, what's up, Christian?
You know what I mean by pick a side, though. Like, pick a side on the issue. Like, hello. I'm like, that wasn't my door, was it?
It was
my. But seriously, I'm like, oh my God, the kids.
I thought it was you, Ryan.
You got to break in.
I did too. Yeah. You're good, right? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But no, it just made me pick a side on issues or pay more attention to issues that I just wasn't that I don't think I was paying enough attention to before. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a better way to put it. Hi, Tracy.
So, hey, Tracy. So I have another question for you. So tell us what platforms people can find you on and what your handle is. Your handle is. Is it always Shea Depmore?
Yes, I am the only Shea Depmore, I believe, that you will find on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, my last name is very unique. As far as I know, we're the only clan out there, so you will find. Cool. Yes, I'm the only Shea Depmore. I'm on all the platforms. My main one would be TikTok. I'm also, I would say, in order of the amount of places that I post would be then Twitter and Instagram. And then Facebook and YouTube. I'm starting to post it again. I was doing YouTube originally, but I hadn't done it in a long time because long form content, especially, what I'm doing right now, that takes a good amount of time. But
for 1 minute, yeah,
they have shorts on YouTube now. They have shorts you can do.
I've been starting to post. Yeah, it's been great. So it's kind of weird to figure out because not everybody has it in their app, but you can just add hashtag shorts to a video that's under 60 seconds and it'll appear in the app in that section. Very similar algorithm to TikTok. And yeah, I've just been throwing some of my more produced evergreen type videos on YouTube as well.
Very cool.
So,
yeah, I throw stuff on there. Sometimes I do like stuff just for YouTube, like longer stuff for it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I actually have to get back into that because I want to keep growing my YouTube channel, because we all know TikTok is kind of a bitch.
It's fickle, and you don't want to rely on just one platform. That's the other thing. It's really, it's hard. You want to diversify, and it's hard to remember that when one is doing better than the others. You can kind of become, and nothing beats that algorithm where you can reach people who are not automatically following you already. Yep. So it's easy to rely on that, but you got to remember to keep doing the other places, which it's a reminder for myself.
I had forgotten to water my Twitter account for a while because TikTok blew up for me. So I focused a lot of my attention on TikTok for a while, trying to, keep building that. And now that TikTok's being, the way they are, now I've gone back to my Twitter account and I'm putting more time.
Your Twitter is great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And but like Nikki was saying, I need to put more attention into YouTube too, because they can't take that from us the way that they can, easily take our TikTok.
Yep. Be careful. They can.
Oh, can they?
Yeah. So it just depends on what.
I didn't know that. As bad as TikTok though?
I don't think it will be as bad as TikTok. No. But they do have the same problem. And so I would say more so in the opposite vein, in that they've had a history of really not cracking down in the same way that TikTok does, cracking down on white supremacy and cracking down on abuse in that way. And so if you become a target of that kind of abuse on YouTube, it can be the same effect as if your stuff is getting taken down, because if you're targeted in that way. You know what I mean? But then also it depends on, I know they're also looking out for, you can get caught up if you're talking about, if you're covering QAnon and trying to expose it as a conspiracy theory, they're cracking down on that as well. Yeah. And you could get caught up in it, even though you're trying to talk about it in a news coverage way of, hey, this is not real.
What the hell? Like, that's so nuts.
Yeah. Did you see the one I did, Nikki, of the Rick Moranis, the dude that looked like Rick Moranis was being sought out by the FBI?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
They wouldn't let that up. They would not let that up.
What, on YouTube?
On TikTok.
Oh, on TikTok?
They refused to let it up. And
I'm shocked.
All it was Shea, all it was a screenshot of the article, and it had a big stamp of the FBI in one corner of it, and then it had a photo of Rick Moranis in his Spaceball suit. And it was a video of me like over top of it, and I had the Spaceballs theme playing. And I made it a joke like halfway through it. I'm like, all right, cue Spaceballs theme. And then I finished it and I said, yeah, it's okay, Rick, just shrink yourself down and don't get eaten by the plant.
Oh my God.
and they wouldn't post it. I'm like,
so they wouldn't post it. So they kept it at 0. It was under review
for an hour.
And then they said it violated community guidelines.
And then so I took it down and tried just loading it up with nothing. And even that didn't work.
Wow.
You didn't appeal it?
It said FBI on there.
Oh shit. They're so like their keywords to like take stuff and hold it is pisses me off.
Yeah,
so
it's really frustrating too when you get it under review. You don't know why. It happens to people who don't do politics as well. I have a friend who's a choreographer, and he's the last person I would ever expect to go through this. And every now and then I hear from him that he's in TikTok jail.
And they'll take dancers down for nudity. They'll take it down for they find a couple of little niche reports that they can do. It's stupid. The women that do the fitness pole dancing, I see them having a lot of problems. They get taken down because they're dancing on a pole, but it's like they're doing it as a fitness thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate form of dance. That's riduculous.
It is.
I think it's become that way. I'll tell you one thing. I've been dancing for 25 years and I can't do that.
Dude, that is so hard.
Yeah.
That is.
I would be hardest. Like, my skin would be sticking to it.
Just lifting yourself up. Oh my God. That was one of my roles in college, because I went to theater school, and one of my acclaimed roles on my resume as an actor is that of a mermaid prostitute. And pole dancing was heavily featured in this. By the way, this was a like weird adaptation of Peter Pan. If you guys are wondering.
Sounds like one of my dreams you're describing.
Yeah, right?
Tell me more.
For anyone who's in the arts world or who knows theater, Cal Arts, someone who went there was the developer of this show. So that will give it, anyone who's in the theater world will be like, oh, okay, yes. Anyone who was not like, yeah. But it was just a weird adaptation, and we had to do pole dancing for it, and we barely did anything. We was the very, not even scratching the surface of intro to pole dancing, and it was hard.
A couple of twirls around, you're like, yay!
But also, it was a lot of, I mean, at a certain point too, like we had worked, because we had one dance, there were 5 of us, and one of us was a dance major, but the rest of us were theater majors, and we were all, he was teaching us how to do everything before the actual choreographer got to us. And the choreographer got to us and was like, I'm going to pare this back because this feels dangerous. And we're like, okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't trust us with it.
I see a head injury in your future.
Yeah.
My 60-year-old aunt fell off the pole and broke her collarbone.
I don't mean to laugh, but
that's why I put it up.
But fell off the pole. Like that sounds
sorry that she
hilarious.
broke her collarbone. We're not laughing at that part.
Yeah. Like seriously, your aunt sounds like somebody that I would love to hang around with. She sounds amazing. Yeah. For real.
God bless your aunt. I hope she's okay.
Totally. Oh my God.
Man, and I hope she got back on the pole, you know? You can't give up.
If you fall off the pole, get back up and get back
right back on it.
You gotta get right back on. You can't give up.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay. So speaking of pole dancing, let's talk about Kylie Jenner.
I knew you were going to say it.
Segue.
That was good.
So I don't know, Shea, if you are informed on what's going on with Kylie Jenner right now. What happened?
I vaguely heard about this with the makeup artist.
Yes.
And that
go ahead.
She was in an accident.
Yeah. So I made a TikTok.
I don't know. I actually don't.
I guess,
okay. Yeah. So let's just go ahead, and I want to give you everybody some numbers here. Okay. So Kylie Jenner makes on the low end $350,000 to up to close to $500,000 a day. So let's stick on that, like that low end thing there. Okay. The low end. Yeah. For real. She looks great in a bikini by the pool, but for fuck's sake, is she worth that much, really? But so anyway, on the low end, we'll stick to $350,000 a day, which equates to about $128 million a year. I can't even fathom that amount of money. Okay. So her makeup artist, he was in a car accident. I believe it was a car accident, and required surgery. Now, first of all, he doesn't have any health insurance. Now, I don't know if he's some sort of like a contractor or whatever, because I know he works with other like celebrities. Whatever.
I'm sure he's a
right
contractor.
Yeah. So apparently the surgery costs like $60,000. So his family opened up a GoFundMe. So Kylie's like, oh, there's a GoFundMe. I just put $5,000 in to get it started. But $5,000, bitch. Like I did the math on this. This pisses me off. I did the math on this. For somebody that makes $100,000 a year, which is a good chunk of money a year, right? Yeah. That's like them putting $3.60 into that GoFundMe. And what $5,000 is to her. It just made me so mad. She is such a greedy little shit. And she was trying to use that for clout to be like the hero. Oh, look at, I gave money. Like that blew up in her face big time.
I'm surprised. I just don't understand why you don't cover the cost of the surgery and then pay for health insurance.
Exactly.
Well,
You can afford it. I mean, this is somebody who, I mean, ongoing makeup artist for how often, I don't know how often he works with her, but I would assume as an influencer every day.
Yeah. Seriously.
And the crazy part, for me is that if you're making the kind of money that she is, you need a lot of write-offs at the end of the year and a lot of tax write-offs. And that is something that you could have easily turned into a write-off and written off on your taxes. And at the same time, helping somebody that has spent time working with you, for you, however you want to call it, like it just doesn't make sense. I kind of have to side with Nikki here. She tried to use it to further promote herself, and she didn't even take care of the person. Like she basically was like, here's $1 in your guitar case as she's walking by.
Exactly.
But also just who's around her I mean, where is her publicist? Because if this was intended to promote her or to make her look like a good person in any way, we gotta review who's taking a look at
I mean, the GoFundMe ended up raising like $120,000. So they went double over. It might even be more now, but that's not the point. Like the point is
they take care of the people that take care of you, and that you're. I mean, this is somebody who should. You work with somebody that, especially a makeup artist. Jesus, I mean, you're working very intimately with these people.
Yeah.
I mean, that is. Hard work, and especially for someone you're working with on that routinely, I don't see why you don't cover that yourself.
Well, she definitely damaged her brand in this kind of bullshit move, in my opinion. I mean, I remember my daughter. I've never cared for the Kardashians or the Jenners ever. I think the Jenners and Bruce Jenner, when it was Bruce Jenner before he was Caitlyn, I believe it is, right? Caitlyn Jenner, and Kris Jenner. I think they exploited their children, and now it's like they're starting to exploit their children, and it's so disgusting to me because I have 2 kids. Ryan, you have 2 kids. I would never in a million years exploit my children at all for anything. It's it's funny. I have to say this a little cautiously, simply because I know that being a politician, being a family man is something that they push, or being a family person, that's important in politics. So, but I think to push your kids into something for financial gain in any way, I think that's pretty messed up. What were we talking about before on the show? Well, on the show?
No, before we got on the show, we were talking about that. We were talking about Livy, and I told you that people had called us asking for the kids to model for their brand, for, a couple of model agencies reached out to us, and Jen and I have always turned them down, like flat. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because we want it to be our kids' choice. Like, if my daughter's 13, 14, she says, "Hey Daddy, I want to go model. I have this opportunity." Great. I'll go with you. I'll stay there with you the whole time. We'll make this opportunity happen. But to do it when my daughter's 7, I think that falls into, more my desire, my greed. Yeah. I don't think that that's for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. But I don't know. It was just,
what do you think, Shea?
For me. Yeah. What do you think, Shea?
I mean, I can't really, I am so what Caitlyn and Kris have done with their kids, I'm so far disconnected from that. I never watched the Kardashians or any of that. I can't act very informed. I mean, I won't pretend that I can be informed on that subject, but I do think that when it comes to involving kids in the industry, I can give some light that may be, exploiting your kids is one thing, and especially putting them into a reality setting is a completely different deal. So I can't speak to that, but I can speak to, as an actor, kids who start in the industry and get work as actors under 18 succeed at much higher rates. Because they enter the industry as adults who they can play children at 18 and they have resumes and they have connections. So their careers can explode much faster than when people graduate, go to school for theater, graduate. So if you have a kid who's asking you to be an actor, I don't know anything about modeling. I don't know anything about reality stuff. I have no idea about that. But if you have a kid who's really, really interested in pursuing an artistic career in acting specifically, I can tell you that if they begin getting credits under 18, it will be beneficial to them in their career. And you're going to have to do a lot of work to guard their mental well-being. That is going to be very hard, but it is beneficial. And I think there are ways of doing that. I mean, now obviously this family has been very problematic in many ways, and I don't know all the ways.
Culture,
I just know that they have been. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I've done a couple of videos on when things have come up, and that's kind of that have been funny to me, but that's about it. And I know the tiny bit of each story that's come up, but I can't begin to pretend that I know a lot about this family.
Well, I think well, somebody just asked why are the Kardashians famous, and I think because I remember when Paris Hilton was a socialite. You may be too young to remember that, Shea. So Paris Hilton was a socialite, and she gained fame from going out and partying. And Kim Kardashian was at her side a lot. And then whole Reggie Bush thing, the whole Reggie Bush thing, the sex tape, Reggie Bush and Kim Kardashian, that kind of thrust her into the limelight. And it all kind of started from there.
Don't be throwing Reggie Bush out there. Reggie Bush does not have a sex tape. that was Ray J.
Oh, it was Ray J. Right. Sorry.
They walk around and be like, "Hey, Ryan and Nikki said."
No, Ray J.
I was
dating Reggie Bush.
What happened?
Was it Ray J?
It was Ray J.
It was definitely Ray J.
At the time, and somehow the tape got out and blah blah blah. But
Oh, that's so funny.
Well, I'll have to double check. But okay, so Ray J then.
And not only that, but it goes back to the O.J. Simpson, thing. Her dad was a friend.
Caitlyn was.
Yeah. Sorry.
Caitlyn. Caitlyn.
No.
Right?
No, it was her dad. It was
her actual, not Caitlyn. Caitlyn's her step.
Thank you. So it was her dad who was a friend with OJ and ended up being one of the lawyers, I think, at some point.
Yes, I remember
that's right.
this.
So they were already in that social circle, you know what I mean? And Ryan Seacrest was actually the one that grabbed them and turned them into the, staple that they became. So yeah, we have Ryan Seacrest to thank for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan Seacrest.
Oh my God.
I didn't know that.
I vaguely remember this from, I'm trying to remember the name, the murder show. Oh my God, it was so good. Do you know what I'm talking about? They did a show
I think I do. And it had like this like music to it that like the intro was like.
Sarah Paulson, wasn't she in it? Am I making that up? No, maybe she wasn't.
Oh, okay,
I'm gonna just.
I like
it was a short series, I believe.
Oh, I don't know that. No, I thought it was like like America's Most Wanted or something.
No,
like that, true crime.
It was like a dramatized thing of.
Oh, the O.J. Simpson thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson played Marcia Clark or whatever her name was.
Yes, she did. She was. Yes.
Yeah, she was good. She was good in that.
I don't remember the name of it, but it is.
Yeah, the OJ's. I know what it is. It was like the 3 or 4 part series.
Right?
Cuba Gooding Jr. played OJ.
Yes. Oh my God!
I'll have to watch it.
I can't think of it.
I have the worst memory in all existence.
Wait till the end of the show. I'm gonna have.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. It'll be good. All right. So with that being said, let's move on from the Kardashian Jenner clan.
Yeah. Let's get into some politics.
Yeah, let's get into some politics. So I'm gonna Nikki, go ahead and take this one.
Okay, so Marcia Fudge. She is, I'm sorry, Marcia Fudge is the new Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Yep.
So she got up with Jen Psaki for like a press conference, and she walks in. This was an amazing intro to the press conference. Let's take a look.
Remarks. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you very much, Jen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh, thank you. I was wondering if I was in this room by myself.
I love it.
That. Oh my God, right.
And that is exactly how that goes down. That is exactly how that goes down. If you're in church, if you're at home, yes, I can promise you.
I love it.
She is awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. So during this press conference, she was taking questions from the reporters, and it was like she was answering. She was awesome, right? And right at the end, a male reporter, asked her about something about who is going to, can you answer this question? Who's going to be taking your seat, or something like that, to that effect. And she's like, no, like, I'm not answering that question. And then he goes, well, what about the Senate? And this is, I want you guys to watch this. I'm going to tell you where this becomes problematic. Let's go ahead and take a look.
All right. So how about the Senate race in your state? Is there Democrats that should run?
Oh, absolutely. I have two friends that are thinking about it. Tim Ryan, of course, is thinking about it. I understand Nan Welly is thinking about it. I mean, I think we're going to put a good person in that race, no matter who we choose. But they're both friends. I think we have a good shot at it. I know people have written off Ohio. I haven't written off Ohio. I believe we can win the Senate race.
Okay, so this is where this is problematic, is she may have violated the Hatch Act. And for those of you that don't know what the Hatch Act is, it prohibits federal employees from using their official titles or positions while engaged in political activity. So what she said may have violated the Hatch Act, which is sucks, man. She just got into the position.
Yeah, and basically, like, the important thing is you can't take a partisan position from your position of power, from your whatever your it can't be partisan at all. And and we were kind of talking about it before. We talk about holding our own side to a high standard. So I'm not negating the fact that she definitely flirted with the Hatch Act here. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think it's important that we know that she didn't say anything that isn't public. She didn't say, everybody knows that she's friends with those two, and that they're vying for the seat. So I mean, that, I think that's important. She and the other thing too is she's already come out and said that she knew that she shouldn't have answered it, and she had a gut feeling at the time she probably shouldn't have, but she did, and then it won't happen again. So I think that we need to also look at that, because that's better than what we're used to from the last 4 years. Somebody actually taking accountability for screwing up. So there's that too, and then we talked about what's her name from the last 4 years, Kellyanne Conway. How many times did she get accused of violating the Hatch Act?
Yeah, so many.
To the point where they said you need to remove her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am really curious as to how they're going to handle this, because we all know, like, there are not all people are treated the same, obviously. And she's a Black woman. And I just hope that they don't use her as an example. Like, that would be, because within the Trump administration, the Hatch Act was violated so many times, and it didn't seem like anybody was held accountable. So I hope that they give her a pass on this. Just let her do her job, and I think she'll be great.
They will. I hope they do. I think the fact that she came out and owned it will help. And honestly, I think what me personally, and I'm going to ask you after, Shea, but I think what you just said too matters. If you're going to hold this Black woman to this way higher standard than you did all these other people for the last 4 years, that's going to cause some shit. I can promise you that's going to cause some shit.
Mhm.
What do you think, Shea?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's brilliant. It's lovely to see people taking accountability for when they make mistakes.
Yes.
That is just, I miss that.
Refreshing. Yes,
Right?
refreshing.
It's also, yeah, and I do think it is one of those things. I mean, listen, it was at the very end of a long talk that she was giving with them, and I think it was one of those things that was off the cuff that she wasn't thinking about. It wasn't a pre-planned thing where she was planning on endorsing them in that moment. You know what I mean? She made a mistake, and I do think that she did the right thing in acknowledging it.
Yeah, she did.
I do think it's good to, I don't know, I'm not familiar, I have to admit this, I'm not familiar with what kind of repercussions anyone would face for violating the Hatch Act, because there were so many violations of the Hatch Act in the last administration.
Removal from your position is one of the.
If that were to happen, I that would be very upsetting, especially if it's something that,
now,
our brain works on automatic, and especially when we're caught off guard, and we're there has to be a certain level of understanding and leeway for
a little bit of grace.
Exactly. Like that. And especially when you own it. If she were to just completely ignore it and say this isn't a thing, and then continue to say go vote for them and every time she got in front of it, that's a different deal. But I think that she is, being the professional that she is, and that is just refreshing to see, because we've been, that hasn't happened in 4 years.
And Shea, what did you guys think about the question itself, though? Like the question from
that's what I was just going to say.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pushing her to.
It was like a trap question. It was like, I want to see if she'll answer this, because the first question, which wasn't on this video, and I thought I had it in there, he was asking her about who will replace her seat. And she refused to answer it. And then he talks about the Senate, and it was like he was pushing her to answer these questions, and it seemed like a setup to me. I don't know why, and it probably wasn't, but Ryan and I had that same thought when we were talking today. And I mean, I wouldn't put it past some of these people to try and, catch them off guard, like you said, Shea.
Potentially. I don't know. I can't.
I mean, it's kind of their job, though, right?
I can't presume to be able to guess at their motivation on that. But
well, I mean, yeah.
But you're right. You're right, Ryan. They're reporters, they're trying to get a story. They're trying to make it juicy. I mean, that's kind of they're
trying to get that one line out of you.
Yep. So but there may not have been anything malicious in his.
I don't. Yeah, and I'm not trying to imply it turned into something. And I don't think that just like I don't think there was any intentional violation on Marcia Fudge's part.
Exactly. It wasn't an intentional moment, and she owned up to it. That's exactly
she did, and that's something that the last 4 years have taught us is so important, that and so refreshing that somebody is willing to say, hey man, I messed up. I'm sorry. I didn't, you didn't get that the last 4 years from anyone. Exactly. No one took responsibility for their own actions in the Trump administration, or very few.
Exactly.
And they've created this culture that we're in right now, which is this very cancerous society.
It is. And Ryan, that's a really good analogy, like the cancerous kind of society. And I was thinking about this the other day. And when you think about cancer cells, everybody has cancer cells in their body. It's whether they're activated. And for me, it feels like, because we all get frustrated as creators, and we all see these people kind of come to the surface. You're like, what the hell, man? Like, where'd all these people come from that think like this? To me, it's like this analogy where laying underneath the ground, these people, before Trump was president, I guess maybe equate them. That's a terrible analogy, but like inactive cancer cells. They're not active. They're just kind of at the, just hanging out. And then Trump gets into office, and boom, they're activated. And it's like they're just now running amok and, causing havoc and all this other stuff. And it's like, oh my God, how do we get this under control? How do we get these conspiracy theories that are driving people to do these crazy things? And being a part of this cult, this, 45 cult, if you will, Trumpism, whatever. And it's like, in order to, and we can't eradicate the problem. We have to control it somehow. We have to manage it. And, how do we do that? Like, how do we manage it? And I think that it's really cracking down on domestic terrorism and white supremacists and making it a true crime, like a crime, and deeming them domestic terrorists, make them, actually, because I don't know if the FBI has deemed domestic terrorism to these groups, to these white supremacy groups. I'm not sure if they have
a problem in our law. We don't have.
Oh, yes. And we're going to be talking about that in a minute. Yeah. But Ryan, so, speaking of cancer, today is Lynch Syndrome awareness, correct?
Yep, it is. And it's an interesting tie-in because, we're talking about, the cancer of society and how to treat it and all of this stuff. And I tied it into it because Lynch syndrome is a genetic mutation that my family carries that causes cancer at a very early age, in primarily in our colon, but also in our kidneys and our stomach. So I have to go get checked every year. Even I had my colon completely taken out in 2019, but I still have to go get looked at. I still have to go, they still have areas that they have to look up from my behind. And then they do an endoscopy where they go down into my stomach with a camera and look around. I have to get that done every year. Oh, and when the cancerous polyp showed up in my colon, when I had the, like my 8th or 9th colonoscopy, it was a really easy decision for me because the doctors were like, well, if you want to watch your kids graduate from high school, you're going to get your colon taken out. Got it. So like 2 months later, I was having it taken out. And unfortunately, Lynch syndrome affects so many people. Like it's like 1 in 200 people have it, and they don't know it, and the reason I knew it was because we had this huge family history. So the reason I wanted to bring it up is go get screened, because you never know. I was 37 years old when I had my colon taken out, so you just never know. If you're having issues, go get screened. If you have family history, even if nobody's diagnosed you with something genetic, go get the screening done. Did
you have any symptoms that or was it just because of family history?
It was simply based off, I knew that I had to get checked every year because a cancerous polyp in me would take 6 months to a year to become a problem, where it would take probably 5 to 10 years to become a problem in you.
Okay.
So that's like the main difference. Like, it's not a matter of if we're going to get cancer. It's like a matter of when. And when depends on, do you mess around with it, and leave your colon in and just have the polyps burned out and removed, or do you just take the whole freaking thing so that it's not a problem? And unfortunately, that's the tie-in here. How do we do this? And it's like, I don't know any other way but to just remove it. Like, you either manage the cancer with like chemo and radiation, or you remove the tumor, the problem. I don't know what the answer is, but it's very clear to me that this cancer in society is very similar to the cancer that I've dealt with in my body, and I don't know. I'm glad that mine has been a lot easier to resolve than what we're battling here. I don't know, but I just wanted to bring up that March 22nd and this whole month is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, on top of
Women's History Month.
History Month, thank you. So I wanted to bring that up and just say, go get screened. But it was a good tie-in to what the point that Nikki was trying to make, which is we need to figure out where these pockets are, and we need to figure out a better way to
manage this problem.
Yep. And like Shea was saying, we need to have better laws in place that are more defining of what these groups are, and that I think is one of the biggest problems right now, is that the law is too vague.
Yeah, it's so vague.
Yeah. And we need to fix that.
Yeah. Let's go get your poopers checked, guys.
Get your poopers checked.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you got that checked. And
thank you. Yeah, I was lucky. My dad, my old man, he before he died at 57, and I was 25. and he had gone and got the blood work done, and he made me promise, to go get it. He's like, look, I paid like $2,000 to get this blood work done. All you have to do is go get they'll take your blood. It'd be like $100. And so I went and got it done. And 30 days after his funeral, I found out I had it too. So like it was a crazy like month.
Well, thank God that you're aware now, so you can keep an eye on it.
So aware, but it also goes to healthcare too. We need to stop penalizing people like myself who go and get help and get screened, and penalizing them through healthcare and not covering them.
Yep.
So it's even more important that we keep the 2008 GINA Act intact.
Yep.
Okay, I'm done now.
Did you want to add anything to the Cancerous Society?
I think what you guys said is great. The good thing is about all of this is that we know that it's there, and we've been reminded, and now we can actually deal with it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people we've ignored so much of what has been eating away at our culture in America for a long time. Those of us who are privileged enough to ignore it, and that's very dangerous. So I think, despite how dangerous it is right now, at least it's forcing us to reckon with it and really do something about it.
And
Shea,
and Shea, you had touched on something that we wanted to talk about, and I have a little clip. It's an audio clip, but just listen to these staggering statistics from the insurrection. This will blow your mind. It's actually very scary. Let's take a look.
A USA Today analysis shows of the 324 people who have been arrested so far in connection with the Capitol insurrection, 43 are current or former officers, first responders, or military veterans.
That is nuts. That is out of 300, so basically out of 324 people that have been arrested so far from the insurrection, 43 of them are either retired veterans, active military, police officers, retired police officers, first responders, those types of people. That makes up 13% of the people that were arrested at the insurrection. That's a staggering number that these people they have
served our country.
Yes. Well, not only that, but how many other like-minded people are there that just didn't go, or they didn't get arrested, or that they think this way? And this goes back to how the white supremacists, and this was something that I covered, oh my gosh, it was like a month ago, where they're ingraining themselves into these powerful positions like law enforcement, the military, becoming lawyers and judges and doctors and nurses. Like, it's a problem. And it's very scary to me that, and like cracking down, like that's where I'm like, where do we start? Like, how do we even find these people?
Well, so it's always been a problem. I think
This is the
thing is that the history of this country and the history of these professions in general, and especially law enforcement, obviously the history of law enforcement in this country had to do with race. So that, there's no ignoring that. And there's, no wonder that still exists, especially, in areas where culturally people are more likely politically to fall on that side of the aisle. And that's, I'm not as surprised that there were so many people who are in that area who have served either in law enforcement or in the military. Also because a lot of people who serve in the military, I mean, it's such a part of our culture, and I think so many people do it for financial reasons as well, as it helps pay for college. It helps a lot of working class people who also, if they are white and working class, may be attracted to, or not working class, but like working class poor, like people who are struggling financially, who are easier targets for white supremacy. because they are vulnerable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Population, they're easier to target, to exploit in that way, and to fall into that kind of radicalization.
Yep.
Quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it very much makes sense to me. Very sadly, but it all very much makes sense to me.
Well,
and I think it's just it's a good reminder that this is ingrained in every part of our. I mean, when people talk about systemic racism, it's not just the system; it is the systems that were built this way. But so many of the people at every part of the system, you know, there's going to be a population that deeply believes, you know, this is a part of their ingrained beliefs.
So here's my question for you two. And Chris, he says, as a vet, I'm embarrassed for them. You know, I'm embarrassed. I'm pissed off that my fellow vets, the people that, you know, we're supposed to trust our lives with and all this stuff, that this is how they think. That this is okay. And one of the things that's been floating around a lot of our, you know, talk groups and stuff like that is veterans talking. If you're a retired vet and, you know, and you did 20 years, or if you got injured like me, and you're getting a disability, there's a lot of talk questioning, should we continue paying their disability and pensions if they got caught, you know, attacking the Capitol, you know, and being an insurrectionist? Do we continue paying them, you know, for serving a country they just tried to commit treason against?
Well, in my opinion, when you join the military, you make you give an oath to your country, and it is to protect the country from foreign and domestic terrorism, or, you know, enemies. And when they willingly made the decision to try and overtake our government and our democracy, they became domestic terrorists. They became the very thing that they made the oath to protect us from. So in my opinion, they should be stripped of all military accolades, monies, all of it.
I mean, it is exactly the same as someone from another country trying to take over our government. It's the exact same thing. I mean, these are, and this is it. It's hard. This is the hard thing with our laws, and what we were talking about or alluding to earlier, is that we don't have, in order for a group to be classified as a terrorist group in America, it has to be a group that is not domestic. We do not have a classification in America for domestic groups. Terrorism, the classification for a terrorist group in our laws, at least, is, you know, for people who are outside of the United States, which obviously our biggest threat right now, I would argue, domestic terrorism from white supremacy. So yeah, and I totally agree that I don't believe that they should, you know, of course they believe that they think that they were fighting for the true America, and that they were, you know, but they're going to have to come to the reality that they were doing exactly the opposite. They were, you know, it doesn't, you know, that I totally understand what they think they were doing, but they were not doing that, and they don't deserve to. The people who fight for this country and put their lives on the line and risk so much for this country and pay to, you know what I mean? I don't believe that they deserve to, you know, reap the benefits of
that's
that.
Pretty much where I'm at with it. You know, being somebody who receives those benefits, you know, I can say that I think that's a decision that should not be taken lightly. You know, you're taking somebody's support away, something that they depend on. But as somebody said on here, Vicky, you know, the consequences need to fit the crime. And the one that I saw, and I used this argument, and everybody shut up. And several of the people that were having this argument with me were, I just happen to know that they were the people that were saying, what's his name? Lance Armstrong should be stripped of all of his his titles and all that stuff because he cheated and blah blah blah. They took all of his Tour de France stuff away, lost all sponsors. Like, you know, his life went from, you know, hero to zero real quick.
Yep. Yeah.
And that was all because he used a performance enhancing drug during a competition. That man's life got destroyed. And you're telling, and I think that if you were favoring that, but now you don't think that terrorists, insurrectionists should be held to a similar standard and have all your shit taken away.
It seems like it seems like so many people, I mean, on both sides, it's a do as I say, not as I do type attitude. So it's okay if I do it, but don't you do it, you know, and that's got to stop. And, you know, Shea, what you were saying about the domestic terrorist groups not being, you know, deemed like, you know, a terrorist organization or whatever, or held to that same standard as a foreign terrorist, that needs to change. Like, they have to change that, because especially that domestic terrorists are our number one threat in this country. We need to make an example of these people and be like, don't do this shit, because this is what's going to happen. Like, you can't, like what happened with the insurrection. And it was like, so many of these people, you know, are sitting home now, like they're totally bailed out. They may not see any time. You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy to me that somebody can go in with the mindset that they want to overthrow our government, and they're just kind of get a little slap on the wrist and sent away. Not all of them, but you know,
the fact that
crazy.
any number of them were able to walk away from that easily is just,
so guys,
that was really deflating to see.
No, it was.
Yeah,
you're right about that.
I mean, I guess not surprising, but still deflating.
Still very deflating, yes. So being a veteran does not give you the right to be an asshole. And being a veteran does not give you the right to be an insurrectionist. Let's keep those things in mind.
Noted.
And they should be, I mean, if you think about it, they have the tactical skills. Our government trained them to be killers and to see how things work and how to organize and what to expect and all of these things. They're trained killers, and they're going in with this knowledge. Like, holy shit. You know, no, like, they need to go to jail and they need to be stripped of everything. Sorry.
Nope, I'm good.
My dad's a veteran, and he is disgusted, absolutely disgusted by this.
Most of us are. Most veterans I know, like, you know, it was all fun and games up until January 6th. Like, you know, in the military, like, I think it was Shea, one of you two were saying it, in the military, they push Republican. You know, they they really push being Republican. And somebody even said it, when you go into the VA, every TV's turned to Fox News.
Fox News.
You know, so it's like, it's just part of being in the military for some reason. But we're starting to, you know, after January 6th, we're starting to see a lot of veterans be like, oh no, that's not okay. And so, you know, it's starting to pull back, you know, and we talked about this last week. The pendulum swing, I think, unfortunately, is going to have to be equally as drastic as it was to the right, to the left, you know, for us to start getting things, you know, in equilibrium back. So, well, anyway, now on to the fun questions.
Let's get to meet Shea, you know, meet Shea and learn about you. So let's show you. I want to show you, like, there are two clips. There are two videos of yours that I want to show, that Ryan and I want to show, because they're so funny. So I'm going to do the one that you did recently. This is cracked me up. You guys take a look.
Breaking news from the palace. Just 2 weeks post the earth-shattering Oprah interview, Prince William has located his black friend. More on their close acquaintanceship after the break.
I thought that was so hilarious.
He's located his black friend. There was a second video to that, wasn't there?
There was a follow-up. So I don't know if you can see in the clip, but let me actually read what it says, because I'm going to butcher it. The news, because it was a British news thing. Okay, let me see. It says that he once slept rough with him, is the exact phrasing. I didn't want to get that wrong because that is so
Slept rough.
So I didn't want to engage on it in that, first of all, because I was trying to do a quick British thing and I didn't, obviously I should know what that means. And I was doing that before another interview, literally 2 seconds before going on to another interview. So I didn't have time to even address it. And I went, slept rough. They are really
that means something different.
They are really overcompensating with the, so then I thought, okay, no, that there's no way that they're overcompensating that hard. And then I went, okay, camping. They went camping together. And then I actually, before even looking into it, I actually made a whole video about how it's camping. And then I went, no, I should double check. I almost posted that camping video. I double checked. Not camping. It means that they slept on the streets. It is a term for the unhoused. And so that sounds really bad. That sounds as if that sounds as if Prince William, volunteered. They have, I don't know if you've ever heard of these. There's these nights where you go out and do a sleep out on the street and you help, it's to help the unhoused, and you volunteer, you give people food, you sleep out on the streets with them. So he had done one of those nights. To me, it sounded like he met somebody who was unhoused and was like, hey, be my one black friend. And was like, I'm the prince, you can't say no. Yeah. So this is in my head, like, oh my God, he forced a poor person who has no home to be his one friend to make him look not racist. Are you kidding me? And then I found out it's not that bad. It is the CEO of the charity who organized the sleep out.
Gotcha.
So it's still bad. It's still really bad. It's not good. It's not a good look to have.
Better.
Yes, it's marginally better. But
oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Yeah. So slept rough.
Rough.
We all have a new
term.
I see are
like, I see them in like, boxer briefs wrestling
right
in a sleeping bag.
To me, it just sounds like a really good night.
Yeah, right? Sounds fun.
I mean, clearly not what it actually meant.
That's hilarious. Okay, so then here's another one of your videos that that we really liked. We'll go ahead and take a look at this one.
We're about to get some money. Is it everything we wanted? No. There is no minimum wage increase. Unemployment benefits were lowered, and the income limit to receive stimulus checks was lowered as well, which is not a good thing. It's still a massive bill that we should be excited about. But why did Democrats cave to Republicans? They didn't. Every concession made was to appease Democratic West Virginia Senator and off-brand old man from Up, Joe Manchin. Manchin's major contribution was in lowering additional federal unemployment benefits from $400 to $300 a week. But if you're unemployed, don't worry. You now get an extra week of benefits and a tax break on $10,000 of your benefits from last year. Does that make up for the lost $2,400 in federal unemployment? No. So why did Joe Manchin skimp on unemployment?
Because a penny saved is a penny earned.
And he's cheap.
What she said. I was so glad you chose that one. Nobody saw that video. And
really? Oh my gosh.
I was so proud of myself for finding that ad of his.
Yeah.
And he's cheap.
I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect.
No.
I mean, holy cow. That was.
He's known who he is for a long time. Man.
Yep.
I saw that, and I had no idea that he's the douchebag that. Well, somebody had said that they expect him to probably switch parties sometime soon or something. I heard somebody say that. I doubt he will, but he just.
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very conservative. I mean, and this is the problem with our whole political system too, is that we're relying on, we only have these two parties. We're all so gerrymandered to where we have to rely on this one person. I mean, fortunately, we're in this position though that we could at least get this good of a package. Though, I mean, this is a really good, for sure. And it's not even, it's more than a start, and that is the thing. I think I think so many of us, we are in a really hard time. This is an emergency like we've never faced in America. And in a way, I think it has pushed a lot of people further to the left than we have been. Yeah. So a lot of them, the American public is like, oh my God, we need way more than this. Hello. What, you know what I mean? Which I'm going like, oh yay. Okay, let's do this. But the politicians are still like, no. But we got, given the circumstances, given who's in power, we got a lot of amazing, there was a lot of good stuff in it. I think one of the biggest really like social platforms that has ever passed. And child poverty is going to be really tackled in the next year. And, people are, going to be taken care of on unemployment, even though they're not going to get that additional bump. They're at least going to have what they have right now through September, or through the beginning of September. And then the stimulus is huge, and the state help is huge. And there's so much in this and the ACA, this is the other thing that we don't talk about. There's so much in the ACA expansion. There's a lot. Hopefully your premiums, if you're on ACA like I am, hopefully your premiums should be going down because of this, which is really exciting. There's lots of cool stuff, even though it's not everything we wanted. I wanted the minimum wage. I think we need to keep fighting for that. But
absolutely,
don't worry. We're here in Arizona trying to figure out what the hell happened with Kristen Sinema. So we'll get that sorted out.
Yes,
and hopefully we can get back to business. In 2014, she sent out a tweet saying, that we needed to tackle that. And then when it came time and she actually had the power. Yeah.
Like we can't go back and look at your Twitter. Come on.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I will get there. It's absurd that we haven't kept up with inflation on the minimum wage.
It's insane.
So
it is insane.
Kept up with inflation for landlords.
Yeah, geez. So we'll get there. I think we just got to keep pushing
I just
them.
wish that this type of package would have happened 6 months ago.
People would be in a much better position
right
now had this help come sooner.
Yeah. I mean, the chairman of the Fed was trying to push us to do it, but they didn't listen to him. So I don't know.
So Shea, have you always, so you're a comedian, have you always been a comedian, or is this something that you've grown into over time?
Well, it's so funny. I don't think I would have ever identified as a comedian before this year. But now I definitely am. I had gotten my first, after this year of TikTok, a couple of stories about stuff that I've done, and people started listing me as a comedian, and I went, oh, I guess I'm a comedian. I guess that's what I do. I would definitely. Oh, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. I am an actor first and foremost, and I think that helps me with comedy, and that I definitely am learning to write comedy better, and I'm learning, I think, as a writer, and I will continue to learn. No matter what, though, I know how to invest in whatever I'm given, even if it's shitty writing. And when I write my own shitty material, I can try to make it funny. So I think that's helped me try to be funny as much as possible. But yeah, it's been a really fun to grow into that, and I'm not the person that in my friend group that anyone would be like, oh yeah, she's the funny one, or the class clown, or I'm the last person. I did have one person I went to school to theater in college with. who told me, I still will never ever forget this moment where I hadn't graduated yet. I think he was older, a couple of years older than me. He kind of went, yeah, people who look like us have to do comedy. I was like, fuck, man. Oh, okay. And I took some improv classes after that. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I did.
That's funny.
And I'm ashamed that I really enjoy improv, but
no, that's awesome.
But
have you met Walter Masterson? He loves improv. He's another actor in New York City. And he's amazing at improv.
I love him. Yeah, I've met him a couple of times through stuff like this, and then we're just mutuals on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, no, he's so much fun.
He's hilarious. I would love his balls I mostly started following him with the yelling at the Trump Tower stuff, and it was very cathartic.
His little shorts.
Yes,
in his little stars and stripes.
Yeah,
shorts.
I love it. And dancing.
You see his recent one, the three of them dancing out
No, I didn't. Oh, I need to look.
Go check it out. It's hilarious. It's so awesome. Okay, so Shea, have you always been into politics, or is this something because of the past administration, kind of got you into?
What's funny is I definitely always have. I mean, I grew up watching a lot of The Daily Show and listening to NPR and I definitely have, but I don't think, especially talking about it on social media, I don't think I had the same freedom of sharing my opinion as I did recently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I felt more comfortable sharing my voice. It's still hard. I'm not gonna pretend like it's easy, but I have felt more okay speaking up and being loud
using
about
your voice.
My opinions. Yes. Mm-hmm. Not to say I wasn't doing that when I was younger, but I definitely, but I was always engaged in, watching political comedy and NPR nerd. So
awesome.
I think you built an awesome platform off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Oh, hang on. Before because I want to save that last question for last, but Ryan had a question. Anybody else who got questions, get them down real quick.
Yeah, get your question.
So Shea, are you a Democrat?
Yes. Well, in the context of America, I think that's my only other option, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
I know that's not very specific, but
that's as fair as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely more left leaning. I also, somebody earlier, but we were talking about such serious things, and I just want to say it because we were talking about the O.J. Simpson thing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had the name of it. Oh no.
Did they?
Yes, I just wanted to acknowledge them, but maybe I lost it.
Let me see. There it is.
There we go. Yes, Gretchen.
Thank you,
People
Gretchen.
versus O.J. Simpson.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Hey,
Gretchen. So good.
And Character by Integrity Act, Dave, David Clayton Reddy, Dave and Empathy Tour in the house. Shea is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Dave, give Boomer a hug from me. Boomer is his dog.
Oh, Papa.
He messaged me like as soon as we got off the show last week, and I forgot to send him a message.
We have to have him on this show too.
Yeah,
Dave, we want to have you on this show as well. Let's see.
Any other questions before we ask our last question?
I'm looking through some.
You see any there, Shea?
Oh gosh, let's see.
There were a lot of people in here that were telling us what's sleeping rough. Actually, it was the same person. Never mind.
A couple people had it. It wasn't just one person.
What's this? Her rainy day nap time is not a good time for Nikki to go live. What?
Yeah, it's messing with my nap time too. I'm sorry.
Oh, she's talking about herself because it's
Yeah,
rainy
yeah.
there. Oh, I'm sorry,
Aw.
honey.
Oh, thank you. Julian said, I love the way you guys talk about politics.
Hey.
Thank you.
Aw.
Thank you.
That's
There's
why we love
swearing.
to have fun. Yeah, we've gotten better. I mean,
We have definitely gotten better. And
but
Vicky,
it's
you're
nice having
absolutely right
awesome
here.
people. Oh yeah.
Wait, nobody is born to hate. That is a taught thing.
I agree. Ooh,
Which
here's a
is-
good one. Shea,
sorry. Do it again. Sorry.
Shea, how many Trumpers followed you when they thought you were pro-Trump and not a parody?
Oh, so many. But
So many.
but also the other question is how many people have blocked me because they think that I'm a pro-Trumper? I think way more people have blocked me. I'm not gonna lie. I got so many hate comments. You guys, it was just too much to the point where I was like, I should probably do a side by side of who hates the best, the left or the right, and do
There's just a whole lot of hate on both sides.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good point.
It's different though. It is. I will say, from the limited experience, it's just the notification system on TikTok is very hard for me to keep up with. I get overwhelmed and anxious very easily, so maybe it's just me. But I will say, from the limited scope that I've seen, the left tends to tell you to hurt yourself, and the right tends to tell you to have things hurt you. Like the right wants you to die by like I hope like something kills you. Like I hope you die. Whereas like the left is like, I hope you kill yourself. That's my limited experience.
God.
Okay,
for everybody listening,
I've ever come across there, Shea.
That is so messed up. Good Lord.
But
that needs to be a meme.
Yeah. The right says, I hope a left kills you. The left is like,
yeah, it's just my own. This is anecdotal evidence. I can't say much, but that is. There's just way too many people. Satire is very hard when the world is so crazy in and of itself.
Oh, I've messed up and I've taken somebody's joke and thought it was serious. I've done it.
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah. So it's just.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So the left is all about personal responsibility.
Oh God.
Amazing.
Damn. That was a good one.
Hilarious.
Oh, man. All right. So let's end it on this one. So Shea, who is your all-time? Okay, so we're going to change this since I know that you're actually a primarily actor. Who is your favorite all-time comedian / actor, actress?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so hard. You guys, I'm very hard at making decisions. I'm gonna rattle off a few things.
Like the dinner video? Yeah.
It's just so hard. Yes, that's exactly it. Like, what are we having?
I like that video.
Thank you. So I made a sketch about like, what are we having for dinner? And demanding somebody else make the decision for me. But okay, so for political comedy, obviously all of the greats like Samantha Bee and, John Oliver and Colbert and, like everyone.
Noah.
Yeah, Trevor Noah and Jon Stewart. But obviously those are all the greats, but like as far as correspondence right now, Roy Wood Jr. is, I think, the best. He is the most committed. I find him so hilarious, and he is somebody who I see. I don't know if he does act. I've seen him act in things, but like he approaches his political comedy with that kind of commitment that I'm just like, he's so funny. I just love him so much.
I mean, you can appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah. So that, and then, Meryl Streep, obviously, I can go into actors for forever. But okay, I'm going to just really quickly, I haven't really told anyone. I want to make a video about this. Maybe you can tell me if I actually should make a video about this, but there's only not everyone's here anymore. So, okay. Sasha Baron Cohen is one of my favorite people.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of like political comedy, speaking of acting, and he's the best example to me of someone. I always am miffed when people are surprised by good comedic actors when they go into really dramatic work, and they can do well, because it is actually harder to do good comedic work. It seems the opposite, but as an actor, it's when you can commit to something silly with the same intensity that you would something that's obviously important, then you can do anything. And he's like the perfect example of that. I mean, he can commit so fully to the weirdest stuff, just whatever. I just am obsessed with him. So I've been receiving these DMs for months on Instagram of people asking me to reach out to him. And I'm like, okay, what? Like, I don't know what to do. Just tons of people being like, hey, can you reach out? But like, I don't know him. I'm like people asking like, hey, can you like have him like sign like a thing for me? Or like my friend is like a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you, I don't know why you think, like, is it all Jews know each other kind of thing? Or like my mom's last name is Cohen, but I'm like, maybe you don't understand how common a last name that is. Like, I was very confused for so long, had no idea. Finally, like literally a few days ago, had somebody add, and this is months, by the way, like since the holidays, add the little note of, since he follows you. And I was in bed taking a nap next to my boyfriend, who I like screamed, and I got up and I looked, and he was following me on Instagram.
Oh my god!
And I was like, no.
Oh my god!
And it's like, actually, he follows 63 people, and they're all.
And you're one of them?
Yeah, I'm one of 63. Friend. They're all the celebrity. It's me and Gal Gadot. Like, I am literally just like, if you look, I honestly go to Instagram after this and tell me I'm not crazy, because like, so I flipped out. And then
that's amazing.
Right? Now I'm just waiting for him to like figure out like that he's crazy and like.
Okay, first off, he has 147. He's following 147, not 60. So you're over exaggerating.
Wait, Sasha Baron Cohen?
Yeah.
No, 63.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's 147 posts. So that's my dumbass. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong number. Yeah, 63, 1.2 million followers. And look, right at the top, when you click it, Shea's right at the top.
Right next to Gal Gadot.
Right next to Gal Gadot.
So I
and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh my gosh,
Washington,
that's awesome.
Ariana Grande.
So you can imagine my yeah. Oh my god, really? That's hilarious. Maybe I can get the inside like details. I'll become friends.
Yeah.
But you know what the thing is though, that
That's
I found,
cool.
like the famous people, like they like being treated just like they appreciate when we do cool videos, but they like being treated just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to. That was one of those things where I was like, I don't know how to do, because you can't not acknowledge like.
She'll get right on that.
All right, I gotta work my connections. My mom is Israeli, so I'll like try and figure something out.
Oh man.
Yeah. And actually that is, so my Israeli family is Yemenite. And Gal is like Eastern European, like she's not Middle Eastern at all. And my grandmother's like one of those people that's just like, anyone who's remotely looks like related, she's like, she looks like she could be part Yemenite. I'm like, no. She's not. She's not at all. But I'll try. But yeah, so
we'll go there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I messaged him. I did, and I had to be like, hey, I am like, I had to acknowledge it. Like I can't like, I'm like, I wish I could be chill about it and be like, yeah, like hi. Like, oh, it looks like you've been following me for months and I never noticed.
Follow you.
Yeah. That's like, sorry. And literally it was the pancake thing. So I did this like pancake thing at the Million MAGA March where we took over the hashtag. And
oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
he apparently had seen that. I don't know. I never post on Instagram. Now I am going to have to post on Instagram. I guess that's his platform. And he decided to follow at that point. He's like, I loved the trick.
Awesome.
And,
Did he respond?
Yeah, he responded. He works with like a person who does his social media. So he was like, it is me. I do work with people who like do my social media. So like, which is obvious.
That's
it's like
awesome.
very well done.
Yeah.
Not that he wouldn't be capable, but like he's doing Oscar winning movies. So like,
That's
I don't know what,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
I have to go
like,
through the people that follow me now.
I know.
So that's a good thing to like, you would assume that you would like, I miss things on TikTok all the time because it's the notifications are crazy.
Yeah.
But Instagram, I barely post there. I get no notifications whatsoever. I'm like, how did I miss it on Instagram?
Yeah.
I'm like, how did this happen?
I know. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
mine.
to check. I gotta follow more people on Insta and TikTok.
I get famous people on Twitter that follow me, but I don't think I've had anybody famous on any of the other platforms.
Twitter's
I've got Rosie O'Donnell.
People. Yes,
that was a
Rosie's
cool
the
one.
biggest supporter. I think all the
I love
political
her.
people, she's a big, she
She's
was
so
the first
sweet.
person for me on Twitter that like actually retweeted something of mine. And
Nice.
like, yeah,
That's awesome.
that was my favorite.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her.
Right.
They all are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at an hour and 20 minutes, so we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up.
Shea, thank you so much for being our guest today. It was
thank you.
awesome to get to know you. I go to your page anytime I need a good laugh. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So guys, if you don't, please go follow Shea. Her at is at Shea Depmore on pretty much all the platforms, Twitter, Instagram, all that, TikTok. And if you don't, please follow all of us on our YouTube channels. And our podcast will be available for download later tonight on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms. Yay. As always, thank you for joining us. I'll leave you with much love and keep fighting. And Nikki?
You guys, Shea, thank you so much for being a guest on our show. And just love to everyone. I love you all. Thank you for being here and watching us live.
We'll talk to you guys next week.